Hello, it's Mike with TradeWinds RV Center, here to congratulate you on your Flagstaff Superlite 26 RBWS travel trailer. I'm going to walk you around it, show you how to use a few things to get the best out of your camping experience. Let's start by talking about arriving at the campsite and a few things taken into consideration when you're parking. On your campsite, you're going to leave plenty of room for your awning. On your off campsite, beside your slides, leaving room for those. I also want you to think about where your power and water connections are going to be. Power, water, both in the rear corner on your driver's side of your tow vehicle or off camp side of the trailer. So once we arrive, I'm going to hook our hitch. First thing we're going to do is level our unit. Unit comes with a power tongue jack. Night docking light, should you arrive at night, simply raise or lower this unit until you're level. Now should you lose power, under this little rubber stopper right here, this hand crank is in your storage, will hook on and get this up and down should you lose power. Speaking of power, check your battery post every now and then, make sure those haven't wiggled loose going down the road. Once we got our unit level, next thing we're going to do is stabilize it. Your unit comes with power stabilizing jacks. I'm going to hit extend, but before I do, I'm going to recommend stabilizing jack pads. Put some jack pads down underneath these, pick a 4-pack up from our store. Turn them down just until they're taut. Remember, our unit's already level, we're just trying to stabilize it. So once it feels like it's going to lift the unit, go ahead and stop. Go back here, run the back ones down. Once we got our unit level and stable, we'll hook up our power and water. Get this big long 50 amp cord, plugs in here in the rear. Goes in at a little angle here. Once you wiggle that in, turn it to lock it in. And then put on your gray washer. At the end of that 50 amp service, should you need, there'll be a 50 to 30 amp dog bone. And at the end of that 30 amp, you'll have a 30 to 15 amp reducer as well. That'll come in your convenience pack. Got your power hooked up, let's hook up our water. At campsites, we're going to hook up to city water connection. First and foremost, your water pressure regulator. This water pressure regulator is going to reduce the water pressure to 40 to 50 psi, protecting the lines in your unit. Always use this because you don't know what the water pressure is at different campsites. Hook that up, hook up your hose. But don't turn your hose on yet, we got one more step. Let's find your hot water heater. Yours is located over here on the driver's side, or I mean your campsite. And all we're going to do at this point, we're just making sure our drain plug's back in here. Don't want to turn your hot water on without that plug being in. Throw some plumber's tape around that. Not putty, putty will gum up on you. Get that in there nice and snug. That's a 1 1/8" socket. Once that's in there tight, you can go ahead and turn that hose on. Now after that hose has been on for a few minutes, our next move is to open up our slide, because what we want to do is get in here and open up our water lines. So come up beside your unit. Over to the right here is going to be your control panel. It's going to slide one. We're going to hit out. It's out. Go ahead and open up our other slide while we're here. So now our purpose of getting in here, open up these slides so we can get in here and open up our water lines. Open up all of your water taps in the kitchen, in the bathroom, your shower. Get all the air out of the lines. Get a nice steady flow of water going through them. Then you shut that off and you're all set. Now let's say we're going to go camping and we're not going to be at a campsite. We're going to go dry camping or boondocking. Well, in that case, we're going to fill up our freshwater tank. No need for a water pressure regulator on this one. Simply fill this with a hose, gravity fill it. There's two ways to tell it's full. One, there's an overflow valve right here, or two, in the inside where you check the levels of your tanks. There's also a freshwater button. Keep an eye on that when you're filling it up. Don't leave it unattended. Once it's full, put this cap back on there, and then whenever you want to utilize that water, you'll turn on your water pump. Don't turn on your water pump and hooked up to the city water. That's already pressurized. All right, we're all set up with our power and water. Let me go ahead and walk you around the rest of the unit, continuing here in this docking station. So again, fresh water, another docking light, city water connection, tank flush. We'll talk about that when dumping our black and gray tanks. Then our antifreeze inlet, cable and satellite. You've got a shower. And down here is your black and gray tanks. We've also got an extra gray tank up front. Stabilizing jacks. You got a ladder, utilize it. Go up there a couple times a year, check the seams of your roof and caulk as needed with recommended RV roofing caulk. You're prepped for a backup camera. You have a spare tire cover. That cover is important, helps keep your tire from dry rotting. Again, your stabilizing jacks. Coming around the front here, you've got a couple outdoor speakers, a vent for your hood range. Here's where you can snap a TV on, and there's where you can plug your TV in. We've also got a griddle and a table in your front storage up here that'll set up here. Quick connect LP is right underneath there. We also got our low point drains right here. Again, our hot water heater. This is where you can manual override with a hand crank your slide if you happen to lose power. There's the hand crank for that. Here's your griddle, table, and griddle legs. Your big pass-through storage. You know, stabilizing jacks up front. Your propane does come with a cover and a regulator simply pointed toward the tank you wish to be using. Lefty loosey to open. We've also got a battery disconnect down here. That'll disconnect all the battery power to the unit. That'll come important later when I talk about your carbon monoxide propane detector inside. Docking lights for up front there. Other side of our pass-through storage. Extra gray tank. And that about covers everything out here. I will mention on your slides, on these seals, they do have a spray that you can apply to these to keep them nice and pliable and flexible over the years. That'll add to the longevity of the life of those. What covers everything out here? Take a look on the inside. All right, going up the side of the unit, a couple things on these stairs. Main thing is you have to have this door all the way open, otherwise this will catch on it coming in or out. Your feet are adjustable, so if you press in on that, move your leg to where you want it. Coming up beside the unit, first thing I always like to point out is your fire extinguisher. Make sure that you and everyone that's camping with you knows the fire extinguisher is located by the entry doorway in case of emergency. Over here is our control panel. Up top here is where you'll see your freshwater tank. That's the one I said to watch when you're filling up your fresh water. Black and gray tanks. Over to the right, showing your battery. Underneath that, awning lights, a step light, interior lights, bedroom light, and your Bluetooth connection. I'm going to send you a separate video on your Wi-Fi Ranger. It's a really nice system. Here's where you turn on your hot water heater. If hooked to gas, your hot water heater if hooked to electric, it does make a difference. Here's your water pump when using your fresh water. Here's your tank heater. That'll just turn on a little 12-volt pad. If you're in inclement weather and you think your tanks might freeze, turn that on. Down here, our awning control. On your awning, you only want to run that awning out until your flap falls down to 90 degrees and you can see your bar. Now if I were to hold that down, that would continue to run itself out and start to run itself up backwards. So keep an eye on it when you're running it out. Run it out only as far as you need to. And to the right of that will be your slide controls. Download the app in your app store and you can do just about everything up here on your phone. Really nice system. Bring this awning back in. Want to make sure that's always all the way in when you travel. Turn that awning light off. and tell you slam locks work best when gently slammed. I'm going to start right here to my left in the bathroom. This is a door that you want to make sure you have snapped open for travel. Whereas your shower doors, you want to have these ones snapped, well, actually open as well, but locked back there. In our bathroom, we have a hand crank open power exhaust vent here with 4 different speeds. 110 lighting. Little access panel to your water pump and filter over here. Access panel to your water lines there. Keep an eye on those. Coming around the corner here is your solar controller panel. The whole purpose of this is to keep from overcharging your solar panels. 13.8 is about where you should be on a 12-volt battery, and you have a flooded battery, so you always want to have that unflooded. I'll send you a separate video from that as well, from Go Power. Nice little system here. Coming into the unit, we've got our recliners here. That is your lumbar support control. So now from here, I'm going to go ahead and turn the TV on. What I am going to mention is that when you arrive at the campsite, go into your menu, go into your antenna, run a digital channel scan, and that will allow you to pick up more channels at the website, at the campsite. You also, this is on a swivel, but you also have an antenna here. So make sure that green light is on. That'll allow you to pick up more channels. Below that, your sound bar for TV or radio. Try to get through and pick something out here. You still have it on pair, TV, auxiliary, FM. So sound system, indoors and out. There's your loudness channel. Those are outdoor speakers. Shut off the indoor ones. Turn on just outdoor. You can hear them. And turn A back on. AM, FM, Bluetooth, auxiliary, nice sound system. And sound bar for your TV. Fireplace. Not just for looks anymore. I can make it look all pretty, but the biggest thing, folks, is the heat. If you're at a campsite and you're plugged in and it's chilly in the morning, don't waste your gas. Turn on this electric heater right here and it'll get it toasty in here in no time. Have a Magic Chef fridge. Main thing on that is your safety bar. That's going to keep them from popping open on you. Below that is going to be an access panel to your breaker box and fuses. A ton of 15s in there. Highly recommend having some of those with you when you go camping. We've got a self-explanatory microwave. You got a light and fan above your cooktop. Glass top here makes an excellent backsplash. Light back on. Turn your panel light on. Turn this to high. Hit your spark, and that's how these light up. Each one of these. Same thing on your oven. Turn this to light. Spark it here. That will light your pilot light. And then turn it to the desired temperature. No need to get up underneath there to light that anymore. Rock that panel light down, it becomes an oven light. 110 with GFCI protection. Reset. Lighting here. Let's go in and crank up your air. System. Heat, gas, cool. Oh, we got it off. I want cool on. There we go. Took me long enough. Get into cool. That should crank your AC up. There it goes. There's quick dumps on the ends of these. Get it cool in here quicker. I'm just going to shut the AC off. Should generally shut off kind of quickly. I'm waiting on that. You got a hand crank vent here as well. That shut off. Now your heat, when you go in and turn your heat on, 80 degrees in here, but I'll just turn it on for a second to show you. When you get in here and turn your heat on, you'll notice that when I shut your heat off, it'll take a few minutes for the fan to cycle through before it actually shuts off. There, that kicked on. Heat off. Like I said, generally it just takes a couple minutes before that fan shuts off. So here are a couple lips for this prep table extension that you can put on here. Continuing in the living room here, we've got your 12 volt carbon monoxide propane detector. The reason I mentioned that's 12 volts, always running off your battery. So if you're out dry camping, boondocking somewhere, and nothing plugged in charging your battery, if you're going to be gone for the day and you think this is going to run your battery down, use that battery disconnect up front. Table that will fold down. The access panel to your drawers here. Your table will fold down and sit on these lips. Put the cushions on top for another sleeping quarters. Smoke alarm in the ceiling there. And we'll head back to the bedroom. This is your wardrobe slide. Make sure your bed's all the way over and nothing is here when you're closing this up. There's where you can turn on your inverter circuit, and 110. Charging ports. Another hand crank open. Vent up in here. And you're prepped for a TV back here. Open up this door. You got your TV backer here. Cable and 110 over here. And that about covers everything in here. It's act like we're leaving the campsite and close the unit up. See that heater just shut off? See how long it took? So what I like to do is come in here and shut off all of my lighting from my control panel. Then I can see any other lighting that's in here. There's going to be all accent lighting that I need to walk through the unit and shut off. Make sure we remove this extension if it's on here. Now all my lighting's off. Come back to my control panel and turn on my interior lights. And say doors and drawers. Walk through the unit, close all doors and drawers. Put your remotes away in here. I also want to mention that you also have a tire pressure monitoring system up here with all of your paperwork. I'm going to send you a video from TSC on how to set that up. Go through your paperwork, make sure any of your appliances, if you need to register them, go ahead and do so. Alright, so doors and drawers and vents. We went through and closed all those. Made sure nothing's in the way of our slides. I'll start with slide number 2, which is our bedroom slide back there. Bring that wardrobe in. Bring in slide number 1 now. Again, we walked through and made sure nothing was in the way, nothing's going to impede that slide from coming in. Why did you hear that noise? That's just the slide mechanism telling you I'm in all the way, or sometimes out all the way. Shut off my interior lights and exit the unit. Again, on these steps, you want to make sure your exterior door is all the way open. Otherwise, this will catch on it. Spring assisted, so that goes up rather easy. Before you leave the dump station, and I say that in case you go inside and want to see the levels of your tanks as you're dumping, but before you leave the dump station, lock and deadbolt this door, lift and turn that handle. That's how you want that handle for travel. All right, if we are out dry camping, we're gonna bring up our stabilizing jacks. We're gonna come over here and dump our freshwater drain, which is right there. So pull that, that'll dump that out. Bring up our stabilizing jacks and head on home or to the nearest dump station, whatever we're in need of. If we're at a campsite, we'll unhook our power, our water, our cable, bring up our stabilizing jacks, hook up our hitch, and head on up to the dump station. Now at the dump station, park accordingly. Remember, our dump's going to be all the way at the rear of the unit. On our driver's side of the tow vehicle. Now you will have another one up there. We're going to start with the one in the rear because that's got your sewage in it. Hook up your 10-foot hose and pull that black handle. Again, that's going to be your sewage. Once it sounds like it's no longer draining, go inside, look and see if it's empty. If it shows empty or a little bit in it, come back out, leave that handle open. Grab the hose at the dump station. Come up here to your tank flush. Hook that hose up, again emphasizing with that black handle open. Let that run for a good 5 minutes. It's going to wash all that nastiness out of your black tank. When that's done, remove that hose. Make sure all that washout that you put in there has drained. Then close your gray or your black and pull your gray handle. The gray handle is going to be cleaner water, your sinks, your showers. That'll clean your sewage hose out a little bit for you. When that's done, close it. Remove your sewage hose. Come up to your second gray tank. Hook up and dump that one. When that's done, remove your sewage hose. And conveniently and sanitarily store it right here in your bumper. I say conveniently, but it's a little hard to do one-handed. Great place for it. Now, lastly, we're gonna dump our low point drains, which are gonna be over on our campsite. Dump them low point drains. Usually do that while my gray tank is dumping. If we're done camping for the season, we don't want to leave any stagnant water in here. Come up here in here, lift on that pressure release valve. Now be careful, hot water is going to come out of there. When it's done, push that back down and you can pull this for your residual hot water. Now, if for some reason your hot water heater doesn't work while you're out, come and look see if either one of these reset buttons are bubbled up. If they are, simply press them back in. Get done dumping everything, hook up and head on home. Again, we thank you guys so much for your purchase. Hope you